for you.
Okay, the bike's all jacked up now. What I really want to do right now, fix this situation right here, because having to move this thing around with the bike is no good. I did the same thing with the XR. As soon as we got it in its ride height, we fixed the kickstand, and I think that was a really smart move. We want to leave the part this direction alone, even up to where like the spring attaches. So we probably want to cut it where there's a nice straight tube, maybe right in the middle somewhere. I'm thinking we need to put a bigger foot on it anyway. Plus, let me show you another issue. If we go back even just a little bit, we're gonna start running into the swing arm. I mean, we can't just put a pipe straight in there. We're gonna have to get a piece of tubing and probably do like some pie cuts in it and kind of kink it back the other way. Pretty much I'm thinking we're just gonna have to build our own sort of bottom part of it. Probably gonna take this to Fire Guy once we I want to get it like as close to as I can first. Let's do this first of all. Let's take the kickstand off and we'll cut it up. .22 millimeters on the outside. I wanted to see if I can find some tubing that would actually slip over this. One, we'd have an outer pipe on here, which would be stronger and thicker. We could make our whole kickstand out of that. And we'd have a big, not only a weld spot, but a big sort of crossover piece here. I'm gonna have to go to the hardware store. They're still open. There's a filter in here. All right. But before we do that, let me tell you about today's video sponsor, Surfshark VPN. Can you imagine if you went to a store and the door greeter on the way in said, hey, can you tell me everywhere you've shopped the last few months, what your interests are, who you bank with, and where you live, as well as a whole bunch of other information? You turn around and walk out. But when you go on the internet, that's literally everywhere you go now. Every website wants to know all this information about you and your computer just gives it away. Surfshark VPN encrypts your data. It's super easy to pick locations and change where you're coming from. You can actually use something called multi-hop, which uses 2 different servers for even more security. And also by changing your location, you can change things in your Netflix and your other services like that, as well as you can get better prices. Depending on where you're coming from, some sites have different prices, so you can actually shop around like that and see what kind of deals you can find. I know a lot of you are traveling around all the time. Motorcycle van life is huge right now. And y'all are constantly using different Wi-Fi networks, and it's incredibly easy for hackers to get a hold of your information. But with Surfshark VPN, you're encrypting that data, you don't have to worry about it. You can use it on as many devices as you want, even all at the same time. The other VPN does that. It works on the Androids and iPhones, and Apples, Macs, Linux, all of them. 24-hour, 7-day-a-week customer support, 30-day money-back guarantee, and they keep no logs at all. So get Surfshark at surfshark.deals/Jake and enter promo code Jake for, is this right? 85% off. 85% off and 3 extra months for free. Check them out. Link is in the description. Thanks to our sponsor, Surfshark. Okay, I'm back, and I cannot find the right size pipe for this. It was a long shot. Some of you out there won't like the fact that I went to the store at all, or you won't care. Some of you think this whole thing's a conspiracy, I'm sure. I feel like there's a lot of people in the riding community that are just like, whatever bro, we ride, we ain't gonna let it bring us down. So actually I found some pipe. Matt, who I feel like I talk about every video now. Matt, the guy who's like doing the same kind of crazy stuff, a little bit different, but very similar to what I'm doing to my MT-07. He's got some pipe that's 21 millimeter inner diameter. This is 22 outer diameter. And I was like, dude, that's close enough. Got the mask again. I'll bring the glove. Oh, but real quick though, I've seen a number of comments from my last video. Let me go over a couple things real quick on the bike concerning about our joint here. People are saying, oh, what about, the forces into this and twisting and all this that's going to be hard on the threads. You're right. I mean, this is not as strong as if it was just a solid piece of metal in here now. But I think what you guys have to remember is the lower triple here. I mean, if you look, this one's doubled up for a reason. There's a reason this is like twice as thick as the one up here. Up and down, your side to side. All that swing is being taken up by this. Anything that's that hardly translated up into here means I've probably damaged my lower triple at that point. I've got other problems because I've just jumped like a 50-foot creek or something crazy. If you think about the only real thing that's translated through the upper triple down into the lower triple is steering input. If it makes you feel any better, I do plan to run a clamp at the bottom and the top of this. We're going to make like a triangulated thing. It's going to have another piece that comes up. It's basically going to hold the headlight and the dash. And so there will be a piece of metal through here with 2 clamps that will brace across this point, which will add a little more strength in this area. The other thing I saw a lot of comments on had to do with the fender, and people saying, but once the suspension goes up and down, now the fender's gonna slam into the radiator. I saw numerous comments about that. Some people are not getting the concept of like what this is bolted to. This fender doesn't move. I mean, it moves like this with the suspension. This fender does not go up and down at all anymore. Before it was hooked to the bottoms of the forks, and it moved up and down with the wheel. For those of y'all following along this project and you enjoy seeing this kind of work, Any kind of support you can give is great. You know, we have merchandise for sale that always goes to these things. We always get a lot of great sponsor help, but there's a lot of small odds and ends. Nothing else, so at least just leave a good like on the video and a comment. That helps the whole, you know, algorithm thing. I do have a Patreon. All these videos you see, there's an early access version that's extended. It doesn't have me blabbing on about things like this or other ads I'm plugging. I don't have a tier system in mind. I'm not raffling off motorcycles. I don't like that. I don't hate anyone that does it. That's fine. That's their hustle if that's what they want to do. I don't like the idea though of people joining my Patreon for like a gamble to try to get something. I don't even have a tier system. It's like you can do $1 and cap it. And you can get access to everything I have on there. Anyways, I'm gonna get over to Matt's house. We're back. I've got the pipe here. Here we go. Corona free. Got to touch the insides of them. Kind of stuck the bolt in here just to show you this. Look at this. If I put my kickstand back, we're probably actually gonna be okay. I don't think we need to like bend this thing out like I thought we did. We're just gonna hack it somewhere and see until we can get it to come down straight. Because at minimum, it's gotta be able to come down straight when it's sitting upright. I think that'll be all right. Not hitting the swing arm. Like I can't even make it or fully deflected right there. All that's really left to do is add a little foot to the bottom, then weld the seam up on it. I also might need to move the spring point down a little bit just to make the spring a little bit stiffer with the extra weight and the length on that stand there. I noticed it's not quite as happy. Just a little bit more tension I think on that spring would fix that. If you look at like the XR's kickstand for instance, that's got a lot more snap and bite to it. And that's what you want. We want to remove the kickstand kill switch. If the bike's in gear and the kickstand is down, it'll turn the engine off. Even if we beef the kickstand spring up like I said we're gonna do, this thing is probably gonna be a little bouncy and floaty when you're going on some rough terrain because we're in gear and we're moving, and this thing, when it pops a little bit like that, the engine will like stall for a second. Simplest thing to do is just remove it. Most of these things are on a 2-wire system, and you either need to leave those wires open or connected. I know some like KTMs and Husqvarnas that you have to actually get like a little dongle, a little box. It's one of those things though that you have to kind of use your head for now. You have to be a little bit smart because you've made your bike slightly more dangerous to fix, well, something else that was dangerous on it too. What we need to do now is figure out if we need this to be an open connection or a closed connection. But in case it is an open connection, all we'd have to do is put some tape around this and stuff everything back. The easiest way to find out is literally to start the bike, hold the clutch in, and try to put it in gear. We attach this guy. So we're in neutral right now. When this connection is open, it thinks the kickstand is down. Because I don't want to modify this part. This is the part that's on the bike. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut off a chunk of this right here, and we're gonna modify this piece. If you take a piece of shrink wrap and put it only about halfway down, you want to leave kind of a flap up here. I'll show you something. Fold this piece over, put another piece then over the whole thing. When we plug this in, it'll think no matter where the kickstand is actually at, it'll assume it's always up. Just tuck this back in, kind of where it was. Kickstand is good then for now. I'm not gonna bother bringing it to Fire Guy to weld it up until we can build the crazy headlight slash dash piece that we need to make. So in the meantime, what I'd like to work on is the handlebars. We switched it to this Ricky Carmichael bar. It's worked out well for how we've been using the bike. We had the ADV riding, more off-road oriented. What we need to be able to do very well that we can't do super well now is stand and hold on to the controls. With the XR, when I stand up on it, I can be straight up and down, basically keeping my weight on the pegs. When I do that on the FZ right now, it looks a little more like this, a little more bent over. So we're gonna change it out to a taller bar, and we're also gonna convert it from 7/8 to 1 1/8, basically a fat bar, an oversized bar. With the 7/8 bars, everything is the same taper all the way through. With the fat bar, it's fatter in the middle and then tapers back to the 7/8 on the end. Just makes a stronger bar. Basically on dirt bikes, ADV style bikes, you have to think of the bars as part of the crash protection. You want to be strong. That thing falls over, that's one of the main points it contacts and holds the bike up. Also, since we're relocating the dash, I don't need to worry about the problem that all FZ07s and MT-07s have, is that the stupid dash is integrated in with the handlebars. It's always been a bad setup. It's not even really good. You have to look down at it way too much. Let me show you the bar I got. When it comes to brands and bars, I'm not brand loyal. I do have Pro Taper bar, and another Pro Taper bar. Look, I just buy what I think is gonna work well for me. Pro Taper makes a good bar. There's a lot of these like $20 bars online you can find and other cheapo ones. I think you do want a well-made, strong bar. I mean, this is a pretty critical item. And I do trust Pro Taper, I trust Renthal. And I'm sure there's a lot of other reputable brands out there. I know B-Rad's got that one that he reps and he says it's strong, and the way B-Rad rides, if he says one's good, then I think it's good. This is the Pro Taper Evo Adventure bar, and that's a tall bar right there. I think we need even bigger. There's one called Adventure High, which comes up like even higher. I don't think we're gonna need the Adventure High. These grips are new enough that I'm trying to reuse them. That's why I'm taking them off. Normally, I would just cut these with a razor. That's right, we ran into this problem before. See, this is, normally these things come into 2 pieces and come off. I guess just being cheap, Yamaha used this cheaper lever on this cheaper bike, and that wouldn't be a big deal except on dirt bars. These are always serrated, so what we had to do last time was stick a screwdriver in here and then just kind of, thank God this thing isn't going back on. You'll see we got a new lever here for it. If you've been paying attention to who I've been tagging on Instagram, probably a good way too if you want to know what's going to be on this bike. It's not on it yet. Sometimes you can go look at Instagram. I'm tagging people who've already sent parts for this thing. The amount of deflection of this thing is alarming. It's still like just not, I think it's just bent now. That can go in the garbage now, I guess. Something worth noting in here is there's a small washer in here. If you have MT-07, you probably have noticed you have a good bit of play in your handlebars. These bushings in here are just very, very soft. So in the original series, when we put the different bars on this bike, we actually found a set of washers that perfectly fixes the problem. They're only like 60-something cents for the 2 of them. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out because you can completely eliminate that wiggle. This thing is basically hard mounted now. Even at like 80, 90 miles an hour, I don't really have like a tingling in the bars. And I've got pretty loud exhaust, which normally amplifies those problems. Let's get to putting these guys on. These are pretty simple. They literally just sit in right where the old bar did and set it up to take the bigger bar. Sometimes these caps, they want you to tighten one side all the way down and wedge the other side. These ones sit evenly on here, so that's nothing we need to mess with. When these clamps come in here and bolt over top of it, basically this little bolt down inside here will pretty much be hidden. And it's also not like it's completely watertight either. I mean, moisture and water can definitely get down in here. And I've had plenty of times where I've taken caps off like this and found little bits of rust or even really bad rust. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put just a little dollop, a little dollop grease over each one of these. If you have someone to help you, it's really nice just because someone can hold this and keep it from spinning and twisting on you. If I'm clever. There's all these little measuring marks on here. I don't know exactly where I want the bar to sit as far as tilt right now, but what I can do is I can kind of get it left to right even. Bring these down. I wouldn't even call them snug yet, just like kind of right at that point. I positioned up the old seat on here. We're actually going to be running a different seat. I'm sure as well as you know. That's what's up. My arms are a little more outright than normal, but it's about how they are when I'm running my XR. Stand up. Oh, okay. Yeah. Man, that looks so cool. I'm happy with that right there. I'm just kidding. Only when you're not looking. should be good right there. So a kickstand, just kick in the bars are tall. We'll finish those up next time. Maybe they are finished, you just don't look. But everything's looking pretty good so far. It's coming together. A couple small things still to figure out, but I think we're looking good. Ian? Can you hear me? No, I'm not on a flashlight. I'm on a beanie. You hear me good, right?
Yeah. What did you just change?
I put you on the actual speaker of my phone because.
Oh well, it actually sounded better before.
Well, yeah, but no one could hear that. So now we just have to have a pretend. We have to pretend we're having a conversation through the beanie.
Of course.
Yeah. So this is the future, right?
Yeah. This is definitely the future. This is.
I mean, I think
I can't believe I'm experiencing this.
I'm really surprised not all headwear is a phone at this point, to be completely honest with you.
I'm gonna throw out any article of clothing that I have that doesn't have a speaker built into it. If I go naked until then, so be it.
That's what's up.
What a time to be alive.